I too want to express my gratitude to Senator Coons for holding a constructive classified meeting around the issues around humanitarian aid. I really would like to pick up with you, Mr. Plitt, because I just have really grave concerns. Absent, obviously, a classified setting, there's been public reports that there is efforts going on to get a negotiated pause in the fighting around the hostages, which is encouraging to me what's been reported publicly. But the gravity of the humanitarian crisis, the sheer enormity of the suffering of residents of Gaza, the amputations and C-sections and procedures going on without anesthesia, the near pandemic, the near famine levels of starvation, the challenges now with dysentery and more. It is simply stunning and unconscionable, the level of misery and suffering amongst innocent people. And it makes me, number one, just constantly be concerned if we are doing everything we can simply to help with the humanitarian efforts. I am fully in accord with the region, and I've had direct conversations with Sisi in Egypt, with MBS in Saudi Arabia. Everyone knows of the urgency to degrade or destroy Hamas and their and the other Iranian proxies that are doing so much to upend peace, to upend what Hamas clearly does not want, which is two nations living side by side. But right now, the urgency, the fierce urgency of now, in addition to ending the terrorism that has plagued the region and undermined peace, is to deal with this humanitarian crisis. And so I just want to sort of ask you, whether it's opening the Erez crossing, expanding the hours and resources used for inspection of humanitarian aid in trucks, increasing efforts to create zones of deconfliction, can we be doing more as a nation to bring about a appropriate response to the crisis of human suffering in Gaza?
Thank you, Senator Booker. I know it is heart-wrenching. It is hard to look at the reports that we keep getting out of Gaza with regards to what the civilians are enduring, the harm to civilians, the protection of civilian issue is critical, and as well as the access issue. I know we are, through Special Envoy Satterfield, pushing to look what more we can do to open additional crossings. There's been damages through the conflict. It remains dramatically and probably the most complex crisis that I've seen in my career, just because of the trauma that was suffered by Israel from October 7th, and also the tactics that Hamas is using that places people in danger as the IDF goes after Hamas to eliminate them and to create conditions.
I guess if I can interrupt, because clearly Hamas has violated unbelievable international rules of conflict, using hospitals and schools, making the military operation extraordinarily complex and difficult. And I'm not in any way diminishing the impossible challenges that you have when a ceasefire is broken on October 6th, going into October 7th, and then the enemy does horrific things, unimaginable violence that I've now witnessed to a degree the most public has not, and through video, and then retreats and embeds themselves around civilian populations. It is deplorable. And yet I know our history as a nation, from the Berlin airlift to the extraordinary efforts going on today, or more recently, like the ability to get resources into Haiti amidst an unstable, dangerous environment. I just would imagine, and maybe this goes to a little bit to, I think, Senator Romney's important line of questioning, is the U.S. has the assets and the ability to get resources there that don't endanger or undermine, just simply anesthesia into that theater. Why aren't we, as a country, perhaps going around the complicated challenges we're seeing, or the lack of will for opening up arteries of support? Why aren't we doing more direct And shouldn't that be considered as an option?
My understanding is that when Special Envoy Satterfield runs into issues pushing for greater access, those issues are raised to a higher level. I think at the beginning of the conflict, our administrator, Samantha Power, she referred to President Biden as our humanitarian desk officer to work with the Prime Minister of Israel to push things through, which has unlocked access. It has been a back and forth, and where we've seen progress and we've lost progress just because of the complexity of the conflict. But I have confidence in the work of Special Envoy Satterfield.
Well, I'm gonna end my time. I'm over my time, but I just want to say this clearly. I support Israel's efforts to defend itself, to end this lurching into cycles of unimaginable violence in the region. Before October 7th, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and others were principally putting the Palestinian people at the center of an effort to normalize relations. We were on the pathway in my lifetime towards a peace process that was more promising than ever, and Hamas upended that, and that will continually be their intention. Even now, they're still firing rockets. Even now, they're still saying we will regroup and do another October 7th. So I support Israel's efforts to destroy or degrade Hamas. That said, I do believe that this is a Schindler's List-like moment when 5 years from now we will look back and say, could we not have done more to save innocent lives, to end unimaginable misery? And I believe we could be doing more, and we must. And the frustration I hear from folks on both sides of the aisle about our ability to work with an administration in Israel that has a military operation again, I just spoke to, but are they doing everything they should be doing to ease the flow of humanitarian aid that is not being undermined and used or assaulted by terrorism, as our ambassador has said? So this is my frustration, and I'm hoping, and I'm looking forward to voting and supporting you, but I'm hoping that this sense of urgency that every hour there are things going on that I believe we could be doing more to stop from happening. Thank you for the generosity.
Thank you, Senator Booker. I am now going to